Hey everybody, John Woolworth here. I am in front of the Chapel of Ease on St. Helena Island in South Carolina. It was built in 1740, and today we are going to be testing out some new gear. This is going to be a short video just to kind of go over some new gear I got. I am going to be heading off in about 4 weeks with my daughter, who is right here. Hi.
Hi.
We are heading off to Kyrgyzstan, and we're going to be off in the hinterlands in the middle of nowhere. And I needed to bring a drone with me, so I bought one that I can put in my bag with me. Not the orange one, that's the one I usually use. It's a bit of a brick for carrying with us, especially if we're on horseback or something like that. So I picked up this little guy right here. Why don't you hold that in your hand? As you can see, it is super small. It's a DJI Mini 2, and although I am an absolute fan of my Autel drone, again the brick, I can put this one right there. Whoop! Don't fall off of there. But anyway, if you put it next to it, you can see the obvious difference in size between the two of them. This one weighs 8 ounces, or under 250 grams, and I'll be able to just throw it in my bag with me. The other thing, you know what, here, why don't you go ahead and film me, okay? Go ahead and recenter. There you go. So anyway, when you open it up, opens up to only that big. And the other nice thing is I will be able to charge it with this little power bank here instead of having to plug it back in. If we don't have power outlets, this is going to be perfect. I think, theoretically speaking, I should be able to get about 4 charges out of this battery bank before I have to recharge it again. You are smirking the whole time here. You're having a good time? Anyway, so we are over at the Chapel of Ease here, and I'm just going to fly it around a little bit and test it out. And I haven't even seen the video quality on this yet, but as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, because that's the whole phrase, not just the half of it. And so you'll get to see this the same time I do, what kind of quality we get out of the video. Now, I did buy this with, I did get a neutral density filter, a couple of them rather, to put on top of the camera right there, because as I said in the last video, you do need to have those in order to get good video quality. So we're going to try this out today, and here we go. Alright, so I'm firing up the software here. Usually I use an iPad when I'm flying, but so I can walk around and talk to you folks, I'm going to just go ahead and use the phone today, and this is probably what I'm going to end up using when I'm in Kyrgyzstan too. The controller on this will actually charge your phone for you while you're doing it, so I don't have to worry about battery going dead on that either. And let's get this fired up. Actually have to flip it over to turn it on this one. Alright, so the first thing I want to figure out is how stable is it when I'm flying it, and then also just how easy is it to fly too, and then of course I want to know what the video quality is too. Okay, now as I said in the last video on flying your drone, I do everything in manual mode. So for that reason, I had to take the neutral density filter off, and now I have to change my settings again. Okay, that looks much better. So here we go. It doesn't seem to have much in the way of obstacle avoidance, which is actually fine with me because I tend to shut it off anyway. So, first thing is I notice it's really quiet. Oh, I guess I should probably turn the video on too. Okay, so we're taking video now. Let's go ahead and... Yep, flying through the window. Woo! You a little nervous, Abby? No. No? Now are you a little nervous? Well, so far so good. This has been really super easy to fly. So far so good. It seems really stable. Well, let's go walk around with it. Yikes! That was close. Almost hit the wall there. What we'll do is just slow side to side here. Looks good so far. We'll go right out the door. That is the nice thing about having a super small drone, is that you can fly it through some tiny spaces. Looks like we're getting a little bright, so I'm going to have to change my settings here. Let's go with 1/100th of a second. I don't want to get too crazy with the settings because it'll end up getting jittery. That is one of the disadvantages of having a drone that does not have aperture control, is you can't just change your aperture settings on the fly. The only thing you can do is change your shutter speed, and that's why you have the need for neutral density filters on a drone of this type. So let's just do a, you know what, let's go ahead and land it. I'm going to put that filter back on because it's too bright for this right now. So I'm going to fly this back out, and you know what? Go ahead and put your hand out. I'm going to land it in your hand. Okay. Yeah, hold it out flat. Good. We're going to do that. All right, hold your hand right underneath it. Right underneath it. Yeah. It didn't like the way you held it, so do it again. Get like right, yeah. All right, now it'll land in your hand. Look at that. Cool. Okay, so I got the ND filter back on again, and I'm changing the settings, and we will take off again. Take off. All right, let's go to the sunny side of the church again. Suppose I should hit record again. Okay, much better. So yeah, so now I've got detail back in the whites again. Again, that's the disadvantage of having a drone with no aperture control, is you're kind of at the mercy of the settings you've got. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a darker exposure here. Okay. There we are, and I'm going to just do a pan across here, and I'll turn around and look at Abby. Give you a haircut?
Later this month.
Later, okay. All right, now let's take it up and see what it's like up higher. And going up. There we are. So far, I'm really impressed with how stable it is in wind. What do you think, Abby?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm still obviously going to prefer the Autel because the camera on that is just pretty much unmatched, but for being able to just travel around the world or throw something in a backpack, depending on what the video quality is like once I get back on my computer, this could be pretty amazing. The video transmission seems to be pretty decent. I noticed it skipped a couple of times, but it hasn't lost the connection or anything like that, so it seems to be doing fine. All right, so that first flight was just my initial impression of things. I hadn't actually even been able to see the footage yet, obviously when I shot this. I did fly it a couple more times over the next couple of days, and my take on this drone is this. The flight characteristics are really, really good. Like anything DJI, it's super easy to fly, it's stable. I was really surprised at how well that tiny little drone did in wind, maintaining, where it's supposed to be, and also how quick it was. The battery life is pretty decent. I never ran it down to completely zero, but I flew what I needed to fly and then I was done. And I think it's going to be good for being able to take off into the hinterlands and just have like a battery pack to recharge it with. The camera, now that's of course what was important to me. This is by no means a professional camera. If you're going to be trying to shoot professionally, this is not the drone for you. The 4K footage is clean. I don't see a lot of noise in it. However, there's some definite disadvantages to the way they've got this set up. There is just one baked-in profile for shooting video. You can't shoot in log. You can't change the color profile or the contrast or anything like that. What you get is what you get. And I find that the profile that they have built into the camera is super oversaturated, unrealistically so. And I have to go in post-processing afterwards and correct that to make it not look like, cartoonish almost. But once that's corrected in post-processing, it ends up looking really good. So my final take for this, I think it's going to be a really good drone for traveling overseas with, for being able to just throw into a bag and be real discreet with. It is quiet, like I said earlier, and they say the best camera is the one that you have on you, and I think this is going to be the case because the Autel that I've got, although the footage would have been just absolutely amazing, it's just too big to carry in a backpack. So that's my final take on this. If you enjoy this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have questions, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'm usually pretty good about answering those. And we will catch you next time.